everybody. My name is Charity McDonald. I am the Legal Administrative Assistant and Technology Specialist for Mi'kmaq Child and Family Services. Our organization consists of 6 First Nations communities in New Brunswick, East Coast, Canada.
And my name is Alex Knockwood. I'm a social worker that works in 6 communities. I did investigations for a period of time, but I just got moved up into management, so I'm here talking about a little bit of my role in all of this. So it's awesome. I'm going to let Charity take it away.
So we were asked to do a presentation on change management and what that looks like for our organization and how we managed to do it with MCASE bringing it into our organization. The thing about change, when you hear something new, a lot of the emotions that people feel are fear, anger, frustration, nervous, cautious, and reluctant. People don't like to change. People don't want to go from what they know into something new because they're comfortable. And we all know that being comfortable is the best way to go. But we're going to move with the times, and the times are changing, and it's a technological age, so therefore we got to keep rolling with it.
And rolling with change, there's a lot of reluctance. So I've encountered some reluctance. It comes from fear, it comes from perfectionism, people not being able to manage their time properly, and my favorite, the I don't know. I love it when someone comes to me with I don't know because it means nobody's taken a moment to teach somebody something. So I take that moment and they can't come to me ever again and say they don't know. So it's really wonderful. It's a good moment to just stop everything and teach. And it happens in social work a lot, where if we're in a moment we don't necessarily want to have that engaging moment with somebody, we say, I don't know how to do that, so I can't do that. Me, no. Well, everybody can, and everybody will, and I love teaching that all the time. So there's a lot of stages of this too. So it's mostly denial, and then people challenge and get angry, and then they try to negotiate, and then they get quite upset because I'm not going to budge. And then eventually they learned from me in some capacity, and they're now really happy because they never have to come to me again, and they're so versed in whatever I taught them at that time. So the moral of the story is things often get worse before they get better, and I've seen it throughout this all. So in saying that, there's a lot of fear around making change. So how would we make change and keep fear at bay?
So keeping the fear at bay is one of the biggest things you got to do right from the get-go. And in order to do that for us, we found that if we were open and honest with everybody about what we wanted to do, what we wanted to see change, and how we wanted to do that, was excellent right from the get-go. Being there for the team, again, right from day one, involve everybody, ask questions. How do you want to see things change? How do you want to see it roll out? How do you want it to work? And having them involved from day one makes it so much easier. It has them on board with bringing it in. So letting them know that you're all learning together and making it fun. When we brought MCASE into our system, into our organization, I didn't know it, but now I'm a super user, and I'm also the person that contacts IT for everything when we want to make changes. I mean, we all have to learn together, but you got to have people in the right places and want to motivate and encourage people at all times. And again, make it a team effort. But in order to teach people things, teaching is hard because, again, I have a little joking slide up here, and my son encouraged me to put this up. Teachers be like, bruh, really?
Okay, and so I'm a teacher often, and I'm definitely looking up and wishing that I could teach better, or wishing people could learn my teaching skills, I'm not sure. Okay, so kind of the way that we encountered making this space a team space and team environment. So making time as a group. So sitting together, one of the things that we did as an agency was sitting together and putting in our case notes and putting in our cases and putting in our families. And if we had prevention or if we had case plans, we would sit together and talk about it, but we would also put it into the system at the same time. So doing it together made it feel like it wasn't hard because there was always somebody else there to bounce an idea off of, to find the answer to your problem, to brainstorm a new solution to your problem. So doing it together is really important, and I think that was a key to our rollout, was that we sat together as a group and did put our stuff in. Supervision. So I do want to talk about supervision. If you are noticing that someone is struggling or they're not going to the system the way that you might be going to the system, maybe sitting down one-on-one and putting it in together will help that. So making scheduled meetings, scheduled supervision. You talk about a case, you also sit there as the supervisor and you put in a note to say, we spoke about this case on this date, they see you doing it, you do it, they do it, it helps immensely. So the second piece of that is increasing all of the pros and decreasing all the cons. So with change, there's always going to be somebody talking about, well, it used to be this way and it was better this way. But you can teach that it probably wasn't better this way. It was probably a con, and now we have a pro to be really happy about. So I'm really optimistic, I'm really motivational, and I talk a lot with people. I'm a really good person to come to about MCASE because I'm always going to talk about the pros. There are no cons, and you need to have someone who can represent that in the best light possible, because we want to see good change. We don't want to get stuck in the issues. We want to get stuck in the solutions and making change and coming together and being together. So with that being said, how do we come together and do that?
Teamwork, a lot of teamwork. The reason we decided to do this as a team is because I am very much on the backside of things. I kind of handle all of the issues. This doesn't work the way I want it to, can we make it do this? And I talk to support, and support makes the changes, and then I roll it out to the staff. Alex is working with the staff on a day-to-day basis, putting everything in. So, the two sides of us is what makes this work much better. But this line I have in here about the open door, open phone, open email, stop me in the hallway policy is what we had to have in order to make this truly work. So we do have 6 communities, and we are spread out across an entire province. We have 3 on one side and 2 on another, and 1 way up north. So in order for me to be present, I have to make regular trips. And when I go into a community, they will stop me. And they'll be like, ooh, since you're here, can we go over this? I don't know how to do this. Can we change this? Because I'd like to have a button right here to do this. And I send that off to support. Support makes the changes if they can. And if not, they tell me a solution or that they're working on it. And that's the only way we can do it. But still, making changes today, we'll probably be making changes in the future. But that's the only way to really have everybody on board, is with teamwork. But as far as our management team, this is how we rolled it out.
So I do always like to touch on this first because I don't think I put it on the slide. One of the things that we did that I felt we did that really helped bring us together was we had new technology, we had new gear to start working with MCASE. We had new laptops, so everybody got a new one. We all sat down together. We were all really excited about the new tech. There was something to get excited about, even though it was work, and it was hard work, and we didn't necessarily want to sit there and do it. But with the new technology, we were motivated. So this involved many social workers in creating process. Feeling like you were a part of creating something is what's going to motivate someone to continue to engage with a change, right? So if you have social workers, you have workers, or anybody in general that can be a part of the creation process, us being able to say what we're going to call case notes. We wanted to call them events because that was consistent with MB Families. It really made one of our staff feel really good that he was able to say, I want it to be labeled as events, that he can go in and it says events. To us it didn't matter, to him it did. So that's really important. We designated several days and weeks having groups of staff get trained and engage in the system together. And like I said, someone was able to say, you know what, we want that to be events. So they were able to make the change at that time. Consistent communication about issues in a timely manner, so making changes regularly. Majority of the staff love that. Designating roles for staff and management. Leaders who can be readily accessible to issues that are specific to MCASE. So I'm very motivational, and I talk about it in such a passionate way that you have to find those people amongst you that would do that, that would encourage and motivate someone to try something new. Because it's easier. I promise it will be. It feels like it's not, but I promise it will be. So choose people who are motivators and willing to express all the amazing uses. So increasing the pros and decreasing those cons. Awesome. So, and in saying that, we work really hard across the province. We do lots, and this is who we are.
So to break it down a little further, Mi'kmaq Child and Family Services of New Brunswick, or MCFSNB, is a not-for-profit organization that consists of 6 First Nations communities. We have a board of directors, a management team made up of, there we go, an executive director, HR, finance, payroll, directors, as well as social workers, family support workers, human service workers, Mi'kmaq cultural coordinators, and tons of support staff. We are fortunate enough to have our own child and care worker, family group conference coordinator, intake and investigation workers, foster home recruitment worker, legal admin, data collection, and statistical officer. We're able to run Nugami houses, after school, and Mi'kmaq family development centers, which consist of Head Starts, daycare, early learning. In each of our 6 communities, we have all of these things. Now, having said that, we brought MCASE in for the social workers primarily, first and foremost. Because our social workers are the ones that are kind of like, we have our directors and then our social workers and then all the staff that works under them. So the staff that's going to eventually learn are going to learn from our social workers. So we needed our social workers to know it inside and out to make it how they wanted it before we start rolling it out to our other teams. We're going to have HR roll out soon, we're going to have our finance department roll out soon, and we're going to have our family support workers roll out soon so they can put their data in and we'll be able to constantly collect that. So that is who we are, and that's what makes us, you know, what we've become over the last 3 years, but MCASE has been a game changer for us. So does anybody have any questions? Too easy, yes.
So how long did it take you guys to do your inputting and all that?
Yeah, you talked before.
Yeah, I didn't touch on this, and I touched on this in the last one.
Yeah.
So we did have a time limit. So when we first rolled out, we said let's try to get as many of the ongoing cases, the last 6 months of information into the new system, and then moving forward from November 30th, you're not to touch the old system. You're only to use the new system moving forward, because it's our information, and now it's actually ours. Whereas before we were using somebody else's system and putting it in. So it was a bit of a motivator to say, you know, we're going to go from them to us. It's going to be only us now. We own this information, so we want to put in as much as we can, and then future is only us. Yeah.
So I mean, it happened quickly because we did bring it in and say, okay, but again, everybody knew it was coming, right? Because everybody was involved and on board with it happening. So when we brought it in, we said, okay, so again, like Alex said, the last 6 months of your information, this is how you're going to practice. This is how you're going to learn the system. And then going forward, nothing else is going into the old system. So it made everybody know that there was no turning back. So it was rather quick. It was like 6 months, and everybody was a little bit, you know, there was some resistance from some, and that's going to happen in every organization. There's people that are not good with technology. There's people not good with change. It happens. But you just got to be willing to work with those people a little more, that's all. And it just kind of motivates them to know that you're there consistently helping them.
It really sounds from a Red Main perspective, you two working together the way that you did is really fantastic.
Yeah,
thank
you. Know, there wasn't just one person that everybody had to deal with, and that you guys were working together.
Yeah. And we had
That was really great.
we did have a third member too, and so I was in take investigation, so I was on the road a lot and I was moving often. There was another social worker who had a lot of case notes, so she was probably our biggest super user first, and then I ended up using it a little bit more, and then I got on board after her. So there's 3 of us that she motivates me and she motivates her, and then she comes to me, and now we're all on the same page. So it is a change, it is a transition, but it's a good transition, I guess, and it will happen like smooth.
But two, again, our 6 communities literally work as one organization. We may be 6 individual communities spread out across the entire province, but we work as one organization, so that helps a lot too. Yes?
Are you guys like using laptops, or are you guys using desktops, or
Oh well, tech. The question about tech is interesting. I'm going to touch on that one, Alex, because I've had a few other communities look at me and go, what do you have? So everybody has a laptop, everybody has a tablet, and that's what we were using for going out into the field with the families, so that the social workers could have access to their case plans right there. They have their clients sign it right there. There's no going back to the office, you know, filling out information, printing it off, taking it back, and hoping that they're still on board. So everybody's got a laptop and There's also a government laptop for the old system, just for historical purposes. So we have one from the government, we have our own, and we have our tablets and a cell phone. And because we're also mobile with MCASE now, because we have the system, but we also have the mobile app as well, we can use those just on the fly all the time.
Our cell phone, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a lot of hardware, yeah.
It is. But you don't use it all at once.
Dig into something.
Yes. Is there any other questions? Oh, and there's one more quote, I guess, at the end that we thought would kind of encompass it all.
So the secret to change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. And I hope we represented that.